guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to review the Illuminae files by Amy Koffman and Christoff. I just finished this trilogy a couple days ago, and let me tell you, it was really good. The Illuminae file is about a series of characters who live in space. And basically the main character, Katie, and her boyfriend Ezra, their colony attacked by an industry called Baytech. The kids need to leave the colony and save the universe and figure out why this attack is happening. They escape on a spaceship and they have all these adventures. And the best part about my reading experience was the fact that I listened to it on Audible. Audible is the largest affiliate of audiobooks in the world. When you purchase an Audible book off the website, you can download the app and you can download it onto your phone. I have it on my phone and iPad, and I also have it on my Echo, because your Echo can actually read you Audible books. The best part about this book is that it had space sound effects, and then it had artificial intelligence defense analytics network, which they call Aiden, who runs the ship, and his voice is really robotic on Audible. Also, all the characters had their own voice, so it was considered a full cast audiobook, so you guys should check it out. I'm going to go into the spoilery section, so bye non-spoilery. Let me tell you about Illuminae, guys. I loved Illuminae. It kind of got boring at times because all they were doing was just going through space, and you were kind of trying to figure out like what Baytech was doing. The whole book was basically about them getting to Heimdall. It's a wormhole in space, and it helps them generate to different universes. It was really interesting what they had to get done, but that was really the whole book. It didn't really pick up for me until the second book, Gemina, or however you say it. I liked the second book better because it switched from Heimdall, which is the wormhole, to the Hypatia ship, which is what Katie and all the other main characters are on. You got to see what's happening at Heimdall, and then Heimdall got attacked, and then there was this whole like multiple universe thing that happened. They almost all died. The shuttle Betty Boop traveled between the two universes. Nick was in it. Nick, her boyfriend / he was a drug dealer, but that's beside the point. And he died in the alternate universe. He was supposed to have died in her universe. Something like that. They had to switch the two Nicks in order to make sure that the wormhole didn't blow up. The universe didn't blow up in the end. The wormhole was shot. So they had to leave. Sidio, the last book, they're trying to go back to Corenza, which is the colony Katie's from, so that they can save the people who are illegally mining hermium, and hermium helps ships with jump gates jump to the other universes. So they had to stop Baytech. This novel is an epistolary novel. The security camera footage is transcribed or talked about by this cool British guy, and then in the last book it's by this Australian girl. There's a series of IM chats and radio transmissions, and then you actually get to hear Aiden's point of view on stuff, which is really interesting. I never really cared about an artificial intelligence defense analytics network or knew what it was until I read this book. I love the character Asha Grant, which is Katie's cousin, because I felt like she was really well developed. Like, she wasn't as coordinated as Hannah Donnelly, because she had her tactics training, and Katie, who has her whole system computer thing figured out, like her neurogramming, I think that's what it's called. She's a normal girl, and I love Asha. And I especially love Reese Lindstrom, who's Asha's love interest. The two of them went through crap, and it's so funny that they like found each other and got back together. I mean, I know it's a YA trope, but still. I really liked him because he turned out to be good at the end. The third book by far was definitely my favorite because I loved the inclusion of a trilogy. The second book is my second favorite, and my third favorite is the first, because the first book just didn't seem like it had a lot going on until you get to the second book. Then it was really, really good. So I love Katie and Ezra. I ship them so much. They're both sarcastic, they're both funny, and then Ezra becomes a gunner. But I think my favorite couple is Nick and Hannah, because I love how Hannah is like a princess basically at the beginning. Her dad buys her everything, and then when her dad dies, everything goes, crappy. It was kind of riches to rags sort of deal, because it was unlike most audiobooks that I've read, or any book that I've read really. Usually it's rags to riches, and that's the trope, but this actually literally was riches to rags, because she didn't really have anything after her dad passed away. And I love Nick's cousin Ella, because even though she can't move, she's a badass heroine. She got the computer going and she was able to put that virus in the network of the Churchill and like turn their guns against them. I love how sarcastic she was and how she refers to herself as Pauchu, the spider, like a metaphor to her crawling into the network. I love in the second book Hannah's Bumblebee nickname. She kills Travis Falk. Like, that just makes my life. And I'm very connected to all these characters because by hearing it in an epistolary sense, you get to see everybody's heads. It's almost omniscient in a way. You also get to see their feelings and what they're going through. Like, Asha and Kate both thought the other one was dead. So it was really awesome when they weren't. My favorite character in the last book, Katya, the Japanese little girl who crawls through the air vents, is the cleverest mouse because she never gets found. Like, if the author actually succeeded in killing her off in the end, I'd be very, very upset. And especially because Asha lost her sister, Samara, and we never know exactly what the sickness was, but we know it was tragic for her. And if she lost Katya, it would have been too traumatic for even me as the reader to like read and not cry. Like, I was crying when she was injured at the end. Reese, I liked his whole story too, because he was just the pretty boy character, you know, and he was kind of crappy in the beginning, but he eventually turned good. And he was there for Asha. He really cared about her. He didn't really care about Baytek. Once he figured out what they were doing to the civilians, he changed sides. I'd also like to mention that Katie, you connect with her in the first book, and then you really connect with her at the end of the series. Like, her dad, I love her dad, one of the engineers on Heimdall. He's one of my favorite dad figures in books now, just because he was there for all the kids. And, you know, Ella's dad died, Nick's dad died, Hannah's dad died, and Ezra's family was no longer there, so he became the father to everybody. The way he fixed Ella's mask in the last book, when she was on that life support machine that was kind of crappy because they didn't have all of the means that they did on the previous ship, it was so touching. He like fixed her mask, and Ella tried to not cry, but she did cry, and he always tells Hannah that her father would be proud of her. And then when he doesn't know what will happen, he writes letters to them, and he treats Ezra like a son too, and obviously Nick like a son. It's young adults, so the protagonists do most of the action, but I really liked how he was there to coach him through it, and then Hannah was able to help him with the dust. It was touching. And then Katya just comes up onto the ship, and her mother, who didn't know she was alive, found her. I can't imagine the emotion behind that. I love the 7 of them. I love how they all went on different journeys to meet one another. And then they all came together after Baytek was caught and everything. I can totally relate to all of the voices on the book. None of them were bad. None of them pissed me off. Like, I liked all of them. And I think the saddest, most confusing part of all of these books is the character Aiden. He's a machine. And he killed a lot of people. Then he saved a lot of people at the same time. And then he thinks of himself as a monster because he killed, but then he also thinks of himself as a hero because he saved people. So it's one of the hardest things to understand. It just goes to show you that computers don't know everything. They can't predict the outcome of a crappy battle in a crappy situation. In the end, he was able to work like a captain in a sense that he knew that these people had to die, so then he killed them. He was a good strategist in a sense that he knew that he had to move around these variables so that things would work out. But he didn't know that different things were going to happen either, because he didn't know that the people from the Churchill were going to go onto the other ship, the one that was floating in space and that didn't have an engine, and use their missiles. So then he had to go over there and stop them. And he got humanized by the end, which was even weirder, because now, as the reader, you don't know whether you like Aiden or not, but then he falls in love with Kate. And it just shows how even robots can become human sometimes. But it's also creepy in the same breath, because he was so obsessed with Katie that he didn't really care about any of the other main characters. In the end, Aiden was good. And at the end, you hear him in the ship going, "Yeah, I saw what happened, and I just have to let Katie go." And it's sad. And then Katie, I think she likes him a little bit more than friends, but I don't think she loves him. I don't know how to feel about Aiden's story. I'm still wrestling with it. If any of you guys have read the Illuminae files and you want to talk to me about Aiden, I'd love to talk to you about it. I've never found like a current YA epistolary novel that I really loved, and I think this trilogy was one of them. But it's definitely worth listening to on Audible. I'm just happy that Baytech got their justice and it was a happy ending, because for a little while, honestly, at the end of the last book, I wasn't sure. Because Katya had almost died, we thought Ezra was dead, and then Nick kept his stupid parachute, and that was good, and then Katie and Hannah survived. But I loved how Oshiro actually became good at the end, because of what Asha said that related to her dead father, who said that your conscience comes before anything else as a soldier, and how Asha, without knowing that she said it, Oshiro just clicked, and she was like, let's help this girl. I turned out to really like Oshiro at the end. And I love the futuristic language also in these books. Instead of saying dude, they say chum. Instead of saying female, they say femme. And I like how they also refer to old philosophers too, how they combined the future and the past. Not that I loved Winifred McCall and how she was able to step up. That takes a lot of bravery. She got everybody through that battle. She trusted Ezra and Katie, and even though they were kids, as much as I hated Ben Garver in the beginning, he turned out to be a good guy. He helped save Winifred in the end with telling them to like stay still and put on their suits, because he knew Aiden was going to blow the oxygen in the Baytech ship, Magellan. His grandson was really cute, Luke. The little baby Hypatia survived, the little girl, and that was really cute. I think it takes a lot of skill to write an epistolary novel and then have you be able to connect with these characters in a really, really interesting universe. I'm very, very happy I picked up this book. I avoided it for a while because of the hype, but I feel like they were all very well written and very well performed on Audible. That's it for the book talk for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Click like, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified as to when I post new videos, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye!